Right now, you're listening to the Scary Vibes podcast. My name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
And my name is Abe, aka Big Paranormal. What's happening, everybody?
Welcome back. Tonight, we're on episode 34, and we're keeping it in the mean streets of Chicago. We're going to be talking about urban legends, tales, serial killers, all from the Chicagoland area. But before we get into that, Abe, how have you been?
I've been doing okay, man. Most recently, we had Halloween that just passed. Unfortunately, I know we were trying to aim towards getting the episode out on Halloween or around Halloween, and unfortunately, because of our adult responsibilities and whatnot, we weren't able to carve out some time to actually make it happen. But super happy that we're able to jump on now. Surprisingly, there wasn't too much going on for Halloween. There wasn't a lot of trick-or-treaters out, at least not in the areas that I was at. I didn't see too many of them. And that kind of made me sad because I was thinking about, back when I was a kid and how excited I used to get at like, putting on the costume, just the whole thing, right? The whole ritual of choosing a costume, putting your costume on, getting ready, and then walking around with your friends and your family, throughout the neighborhood and hitting up all these different houses and seeing what kind of candy you were going to get. It was just a great experience as a kid, you know, and it just made me really sad to see that there weren't that many people that were participating. I mean, I'm sure that there was a lot of factors, right? I'm sure, because of current events, things that are going on right now. I know that a lot of people were blaming those trunk or treat events. Um, the economy's not doing that great, and you've got, I mean, who really has the money to spend like $24 to $28 on one bag of candy right now to give out to people, But it really did make me really sad. On a spiritual level, it's funny that being empathic, you would think that with all the spiritual things that I deal with, day in and day out, week in and week out, I honestly have never really had a crazy spiritual experience on or around Halloween. That's kind of weird. It's actually kind of a peaceful time for me. And I think maybe it's because spirits are a little bit too busy, going and visiting their own friends, their own families. I don't know, but I never really have had any type of negative interaction or crazy experience in the past or recently, which I thought that's pretty crazy. But yeah, it's actually a pretty peaceful time. I don't really deal with any bad vibes or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, I played it pretty low key. For Halloween, I was working pretty late, so I didn't get home until like damn near 10 o'clock. So I really wasn't able to do much for Halloween. What about you, man? Did you do anything with your daughter?
So last episode, you were asking me, do I have any activities lined up? And
Mm-hmm.
one of the activities that we had was, we went to the pumpkin patch, so we were able to do that. And we were able to also carve pumpkins and, well, I should say pumpkin. So the
Oh,
day before Halloween, okay, I get off work and I'm like, okay, we need to go get some pumpkins. We need to go get some food because I'm hungry. I just got
okay.
off work. So I go pick up my daughter and we go over to the grocery store, Mariano's. Okay. And we go there. I circle the store like twice and I'm like, where are the pumpkins? So I talk to an associate and she informs me that they are all sold out. So I'm like, okay, where's the next closest spot? So I know there's a nursery slash that's across the street from where my job is at. So I end up going over there, and the lady's getting ready to leave for the day, and she sees me and my daughter jump out. She's already in her truck, and she's like, "Are you here for a pumpkin?" And I was like, "Yeah." So she says, "Okay, I'll come in. I could ring out one more pumpkin." She's like, "All I have left is what's there on that pallet." So
Hmm.
we go to this pallet, and all these pumpkins, they are very strange. You could tell that they're not like if you go to Walmart, if you go to a grocery store and you're getting a pumpkin, they all have this perfect
Hmm.
round shape to them, almost like they're factory made, right? But these
Mm.
pumpkins,
Okay.
these were like local farmers, or because you could tell none of them were perfectly shaped. They were all bumpy, and some were hard, and they had like sunspots. And um, anywho, I just wanted to find a good one that kind of just stood up straight, so I could carve it, and we could set it out for
Hmm.
Halloween night. So it was tough pickings, but I find one. It's very orange and bumpy and whatnot. So okay, so we take this pumpkin and we go home, and I give the pumpkin a bath. And my daughter's like, "We gotta give this pumpkin a spa day before you murder it." So she's like, I wrap in the towel, and she's literally putting moisturizer and everything on this thing, and we're babying this pumpkin,
Right.
only to find out that I have the Terminator of all freaking pumpkins. As I
So
try to carve, so I have a carving kit, and the carving kit sharp, it has all the like grooves to kind of dig into it, and I'm trying to carve this thing, and this thing is Terminator. He's hard as a rock. Literally gave me the fight of my life. I was able to get it carved. I was able to get it out for Halloween, but man,
you had a fight, huh?
this Terminator pumpkin was fucking crazy. So yeah, it was fun times. We had a good time at the pumpkin patch doing that. It's kind of one of those
Uh huh.
bittersweet moments when Halloween is over, but luckily everybody's in the right place because scary vibes. It's Halloween all year round.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
man. Love it.
I know you were telling me that you actually had a story about something that happened to you on a Halloween night that you wanted to share with the audience.
Oh yeah, man. Oh geez. So okay, so kind of getting back to what I had said before, I've never had any scary experiences on Halloween that had anything to do with supernatural things, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that I haven't had scary experiences on Halloween. And I want to say, excuse me, I want to say that like this incident that happened was, I mean, I had to be in my late teens, early 20s, something like that. And I remember it was Halloween night. And I was in a car with my friends, and we were just kind of cruising up and down Fullerton Avenue, going from like Western Avenue all the way up to Harlem and back down again. When you're young Hispanic kids and you're doing, things of that nature, you're looking for a good time, looking for females, but all you're going to find is trouble, you know.
Dun dun
And
dun. Sorry.
so, I mean, it being Halloween night, there was a lot going on and whatever. But I can't remember specifically what time this was, but we were coming down Fullerton Avenue, right? And we had gotten just to like Fullerton and like Spalding area. And there was this guy who was just walking out in the middle of the street wearing regular street clothes, but he was rocking a ghost face mask, from Scream, from the Scream
Mhm.
movies.
Yeah.
And so we're passing by the guy, and as we're passing by, the guy like kind of tries to, it looked like he tried to like hit the car with something like in his hand. And so we're like, what the hell? So we kind of like slow down a little bit as we have passed by him. Well, the guy starts taking off towards the car that we're in, and he pulls out a gun.
Mm.
And so my friend, I'm yelling at my friend. I'm like, yo, punch it, get us out of here. So he, man, puts the pedal to the metal, hits the floor, and he just peels out, man. And we're gunning down the street. This guy's chasing after us, and he starts shooting at us. we have no idea. Like, we don't know who this guy is. You know, he was just some random guy, I guess, who was out there just looking to kill somebody, I guess. I don't know. Like, we have no idea who the guy was, but he was chasing after the car, like running down the block, just shooting at us. Now, luckily, none of his shots actually hit the car, and we were able to turn down Kedzie and like lose the guy. I mean, he was on foot, right? And we were like in an Intrepid. So my friend just like gunned it, and we took off. I mean, we never, we didn't go back to see who the guy was or anything like that. And plus, we were kids from the hood, so we were like, we weren't about to like call the cops, you know, to handle that kind of a situation or whatever. But it was a really, really, really scary experience. I mean, just recalling it right now, I can feel like the hairs on my arms stand up just thinking about it, man. That just goes to show you, 9 times out of 10, you got to worry way more about humans than you do about any type of spirits. Like, bro, it was absolutely crazy. But
So
that being said, what's up?
I don't know. I was gonna say that's nuts. I was actually okay. So I did have something creepy happen that did happen this Halloween, but this made me think of something that happened s- a few Halloweens back.
Okay.
I remember I was telling you how when you were asking me, I said, well, a few Halloweens back, my sister, she reached out to me and she said, hey, uh, Joliet haunted prison. There's a attraction. And it's ending. The haunted
Mm.
house. We need to do it before it ends, and it was on Halloween night. But so I told you what happened at the end of the night. But now after listening to your story, I remember when I was driving to her house. So she lives in Berwyn, Illinois, which is right outside Chicago, and I'm driving to her house.
Hmm.
And on Roosevelt by Mannheim, there's a cemetery and there's a
Hmm.
bus stop. And as I was driving by, this woman, she like comes out into the middle of the street. She didn't pull a gun out on me though.
Hmm.
She ended up just like pulling her shirt up.
Wait, what? So wait, so you got flashed?
Yeah, she ended up flashing and like shaking her pumpkins.
Wow.
On my way to my sister's house. Later, what ended up happening that night after we ended up leaving the attraction,
Uh-huh.
it was a very foggy night, and as we were driving, this
Uh-huh.
deer just jumped out. I've seen deers. You always hear about crazy deer stories. This deer jumped out, and I clipped her. I think it was a female deer right in her ass, and she fell over. She got up and she ran off. At the time I was driving this minivan,
Uh-huh.
and it barely did any damage to the car. Luckily, we were able to all get home safely. I had my nephew there with us too, and I was just like, what? It was just creepy because it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, foggy, and a deer just jumped down in front of the car. But
Dude, that sounds really scary, man. Especially like I've been in that type of situation before, and when the deer just jumps right in front of you, it's like a split second, right? And a lot of people think, oh, well, I would just do this in that event, right? Like they think it's that easy, but it happens so fast. And it's like you either slam on the brakes, which you know you're not going to be able to stop in time, right? You're gonna hit it regardless, or you try to swerve, and if you swerve, it's going to, you run the chance of swerving and like losing control of the vehicle, either slamming into another vehicle that's driving, or running off the road and potentially hurting, maybe even killing yourself. So it's like there are so many variables when it comes to that, and I'm just glad that your situation ended positively where nobody really actually got hurt.
yeah, luckily. But yeah, you ended up getting shot at. I ended up seeing two pumpkins get thrown at me. So it
Like,
just
wait,
shows.
how come I don't have any situations like that happen to me ever? What's going on? That's weird.
I
But
know. You know what I did say
Um.
though? I did have something creepy that happened to me this Halloween, and
Okay.
very short story. Basically, Halloween night, I ended up falling asleep and then waking up, and I want to say I was up around like midnight, and it was one of those situations where I was on my phone and
Mm-hmm.
like holding it, and I was like snoozing off, and everyone knows, when that's happening, sometimes you'll open your eyes and your phone, you'll open up an app or you'll open up a website that you fell asleep with the phone in your hand. And tell me if this
Yeah.
isn't creepy. Tell me if this isn't creepy. I snoozed with my phone in my hand, and when I opened my eyes to like catch myself and be like, man, it's time for bed, I looked down and I had my
Mm-hmm.
calculator open, and I had typed in the calculator 333,
Whoa.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. How do you do that? That's
I was like,
crazy.
one, I don't think I've ever opened the calculator. Two, the fact that those numbers were the numbers that came up during Halloween night around midnight, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I need to go to bed. This is creepy. So I put my phone on the counter and I got in my bed and I went to sleep. But I thought that was
I don't know, man.
interesting.
I I don't know, man. It sounds like some spirits were trying to send you some subliminal messages or something.
Well, I ain't falling for it.
Yeah, you're not falling for it,
Yeah, they're always trying to get my attention,
dude.
but I ain't falling for it.
Yeah, that sounds really creepy, bro. But like, I don't know, man. I'm just thankful that like really, really creepy bad things haven't happened this Halloween.
I'm on the
What do
opposite
you
side of the spectrum. I'm like, darn, now I have to wait for next year for something creepy to happen again.
mean? Yeah. So, like I was saying though, getting back to okay, on a different note, something a little bit more positive, man. A horror legend has just been recognized finally after having more than like 40, of work under his belt in the horror community, and that is Robert England, aka Freddy Krueger. So Freddy Krueger just got recognized, and he has his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And honestly,
Hey,
dude, that is fantastic news. I can't believe that it took him so long to be recognized for that. I mean, anybody that's like a horror fan or fans of anything creepy know that this guy, he brought that character to life. But even long after that franchise ended, he was still making tons of scary movies, making cameos in different projects, and I mean, he just contributed so much to the horror genre, and he still does to this day. So I think it's awesome that he is finally being recognized for all of the work that he put in. I mean, I know it's a far shot, but yo, congratulations, Robert England.
no doubt. I'd love to see, people get their flowers while they're still alive. They could, appreciate them. I,
Absolutely,
you know.
so happy for him.
So to get back on today's topic, so today it's going to be all about, Chicago and
Mhm,
all the stuff that kind of goes with it, but on the creepy side, urban legends and serial killers. But before we get into that,
mhm.
I don't want people to run away. I mean, people are already hearing, about Ghostface shooting at you and this lady throwing her pumpkins at me. And Chicago's such a beautiful city. We got the best skyline. We got the best food.
Absolutely, we do. Yes, we
So
Chicago really does have the best food.
so what food would you recommend to any of our listeners that want to come to Chicago maybe and maybe try some of the food while they're checking out creepy stuff?
Oh man, that but there's so much just because like Chicago really is just a mesh of different cultures. I mean, literally, you can find foods from anywhere in the world. You just have to drive to the right area in order to find it, right? But I mean, if you're looking for the best pizza, again,
Ooh.
Chicago, for whatever reason, is known for deep dish. I don't know why, right? Because anybody who's from Chicago knows that we don't really mess with deep dish that much. I think that's more of a tourist thing. What you guys really want is the tavern style, the
Mm.
traditional thin crust, tavern style, mom and pop joint pizza that comes with a 1 liter of RC cola. That's what you need,
And it
right?
usually gets served in like a giant bag that has a picture of Italy on it.
Yeah, man, that's how you know that it's great. And the grease is like eating its way through the bag. Yeah, it's awesome, man. But like, I mean, besides that, I mean, we're known for so many great foods, right? Like a lot of people will rave about Portillo's. But I mean, that's more of like a chain. But you got to start looking for the mom and pop places, the little shops, because those are the places that won't hurt your wallet and that just have like the best quality food also. So like, I don't know, Mike. What do you think? Like, I mean, Rick Benny's. I would choose Rick Benny's breaded steak sandwich over probably over a Portillo's Italian beef.
Yeah. I mean, they're both
Definitely.
good. They're both good. I mean, but
It,
I'm from
oh,
Bridgeport on the south side. I got to go with the Riccaboni steak sandwich, you know.
hey, all right. Two for
And
two.
then, and as far as pizza, Phil's Pizza on 35th Street. Those are my spots
You
right there.
you know what though, man? When you took me to that Connie's over there off of, was it Archer?
It's on Archer.
It was on Archer. Man, that Connie's pizza was so cool. Shout out Connie's Pizza. But like just because it was like made inside of an old mill, and so like they have like the same old architecture and all of like the decommissioned machines and stuff that are still there, it made for such like a cool experience. It
Mm.
was almost like, I don't know, like you jumped in a time machine and you traveled back in time and now you're eating pizza in this like old mill. It was such a cool experience. We got to go back there, man.
Yeah, I really like Connie's Pizza. Connie's Pizza is kind of like a middleweight, I consider.
Right,
It has it's almost like a deep dish, but it still has that Chicago flavor, and it's not a deep dish. It's kind of just a
right.
heavier side on the Chicago side pizza. So,
Yeah,
but it's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
absolutely. Yeah, man, it's a little bit on the thicker side, just like I like my women. Oh god, that was cheesy. That was bad. That was so bad. But
Yeah,
anyways, yeah.
we like all sizes.
I like them all shapes and sizes.
Okay.
Anyways,
Okay, so now that everyone has their pizza and their breaded steak sandwiches and their
hmm
Chicago style hot dogs.
yeah. Oh, wait, did we even give recommendations for Chicago style hot dogs? Because for me, I mean, everybody raves about Maxwell Street, and that's if you want that Maxwell Street style.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, I'm sorry, but for me, Jimmy's Red Hots on
Oh yeah,
Pulaski,
Jimmy's.
Grand and Pulaski, man.
Yeah, Jimmy's.
Jimmy's Red Hots that's that place for me, man. That has like that full Chicago. If you want to get that Chicago feel, go to Jimmy's, man, because you go in there, it's literally four people that behind the desk. It gets real busy, real loud in there. You have that guy selling bootlegs.
Mm,
It's so funny. There's a huge no ketchup sign on the outside. I mean, there you can't get much more Chicago than that.
no, for sure. I grew up on the south side, so I grew up on eating Nickies. But when I found out about Jimmy's and Johnny's, bro, they both got really amazing hot dogs. Also, what Gin and Jude's? A lot of people love that one.
Gene and Jude's, yeah, Gene and Jude's is
So many
technically
people like
not.
that.
It's not even really Chicago. What is that? It's like Elmwood Park area, but yeah, it's
It's
one of
right
those
there.
victims.
It's right
Yeah, it's
there.
one of the victims of the whole zoning thing and whatnot. But I like Gene and Jude's, but they only serve hot dogs there, right? And you know me, I'm a Polish guy. I'm a Polish
Ooh,
sausage guy.
that's
So,
one.
and for all you pervs out there, get your minds out of the gutter, okay? But like, yeah, Polish sausage is where it's at. You get the Polish sausage, you get the onions, you know, just get the works on it with mustard.
Yeah, mustard.
So no ketchup, no ketchup.
And that.
But anyways,
So,
go ahead, man.
okay, now that everybody has all their snacks and Chicago's a great place to visit. Now that's out of the way. Let's talk about the
Mm-hmm.
urban legends of Chicago.
Oh man,
What do you got for us?
bro. So as a Chicagoan, right, we know of specific urban legends, right? So obviously the number one has to be Resurrection Mary, right?
Hmm.
Like Chicago's known for Resurrection Mary, the hitchhiking ghost. But then you have the Devil Baby of Hull House is another urban legend that happened here. There's like so many different things that Chicago is famous for. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre, when the police gunned down John Dillinger outside the Biograph Theater. Like
Hmm.
so apparently that alleyway, like the gangway where he was shot and killed, is apparently haunted. But there's like
Ooh.
so many different things. But like when you go down the rabbit hole, for some reason now I'm finding that on social media people are chattering about different things that I've never heard of. Like, yeah, man, it's been really confusing because I've been a resident of Chicago for a long time, born and raised, right? But then I left to Michigan for some years. I did my 7th, 8th grade, and then high school years out in Michigan. And then I moved back after I graduated from high school. But during that time, I was always coming back to Chicago for visits, right, with my family and whatever. So when now I'm hearing people chattering on social media about mermaids at Navy Pier. Have you heard about this?
Today I heard about it when you brought it up to me about
Yeah,
that could be something to talk about. I didn't
dude.
find much. I saw a lady. She was talking on TikTok, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and she described that she had seen at the end of Navy Pier, she had heard like screams, and over by the lighthouse, she's claiming to see mermaids coming up on the rocks right there.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen or heard?
Well, I mean, about the same, right? There's been a few people that have said that they've seen glimpses and caught things in the waves at Navy Pier. I have seen the woman that said that, she has seen um, mermaids kind of playing over there by the lighthouse. But like, as I try to do a deep dive, I haven't been able to find any like really big research into it, which I'm like, okay, so if you go on TikTok and you actually like go in the search bar and look up Paranormal Chicago, the two main things that I'm seeing right now are these mermaids, right? That are apparently
Hmm.
now, it's like, mermaids Navy Pier, and now the gargoyles of Lower Wacker Drive
Oh
is
yeah,
another one.
you were telling me about that. I did not look that one up. What's the
Yeah, so
story about that?
apparently, I mean, there's Wacker Drive, right? Everybody who knows who's driven down Wacker, which it's a nightmare, man. It's just like a series of tunnels that you drive in Lower Wacker. It's real easy to get. If you miss your turnoff, man, like you're getting lost, right? It's a nightmare down there. Well, apparently there's an even lower level to
Oh
Wacker
no.
Drive where I guess there's like a bunch of homeless people. There's like a homeless encampment
Well, yeah, I've been there.
down there. Yeah, and so there's I guess there's been some people that live down there that have been reporting that homeless people have been going missing, and like they're blaming it on these creatures, these gargoyles that they say that live underneath Lower Wacker Drive. And I mean they don't really give too much of a description on what it is. Like not too many people want to talk about it, but I mean, it leaves a lot of speculation, dude. Like, I remember there was a lot of talk about the gargoyles on top of there's a famous library, right? The Chicago Public Library, the main one, the big one downtown, that has these big old gargoyles that are on each corner of the building. And I remember hearing stories when I was a kid saying that at night those gargoyles come to life. And there have been like talks of some people saying that they've actually seen them move. There's been times where people have said that they've woken up some mornings and they're not there. And then all of a sudden, like the next day, they'll just magically appear. They'll be back on the corners of the buildings. But as far as myself, dude, I mean, again, this is one of those things where it's like you try to do a little bit more research on it and you can't really find too much, right? I mean, I don't know if this is literally is just one of those word of mouth urban legends. I guess the only way that we're ever going to really be able to find out more information about this is if we go to Lower Wacker and we start talking to some of these homeless people and see if we can find out something from
Yeah.
them. But then again, I'm kind of scared to do that because what if we actually come across something?
The
You know?
gargoyles start chasing us. No, it's
Yeah.
definitely creepy down there because it's just you cannot get any service like on your phones. It's a dead spot.
Hmm.
You need to know your way around because you don't have Google Maps. You don't have
Right.
anything. You cannot call nobody. Going down there is crazy. It's definitely no
Hmm.
man's land. So you have to know your way around. That would definitely be interesting to to talk to somebody, to talk to some people down there to see if there's any truth to that story. But that is a creepy one.
Absolutely, dude. Thinking of some kind of like weird subterranean creatures that are feeding on the homeless and whatnot. And I mean, I don't know. That's just nuts. But there, I mean, we've heard crazy things coming from the hood. Come on. We've had that Homie the Clown killer thing that went on for a while.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
pretty. That was really crazy. And I remember being a little kid, and it was around Halloween, and I remember everybody was claiming to have seen this clown, right? And I had heard so many different stories, and I know we've spoken about this clown before on this podcast, but I just can't get past that incident, man, where I was just eating lunch. I was in the lunchroom at school, and then I hear one of the kids, a female student, start like screaming at the top of her lungs. And I remember looking at her, and she's by the window and she's screaming, "There he is, there's the clown." And we all just like got up and ran over to the windows, and people, like kids, just started screaming. I myself did not see anything, right? I mean, there was just too many people in the windows. I couldn't even see outside the windows. But whoever was there were screaming, "There he is, there he is." And they were just like losing it, dude, just screaming at the tops of their lungs. And of course, I'm freaking out. I'm a little kid and I don't see what they're seeing, but I'm feeling this fear, this immense fear. So of course, I'm freaking the hell out.
Yeah.
And then I remember, there was like the school security guard came and he ran up. He's like, what's going on, and he kind of pushed his way through the kids, and he looked out the window, and he must have saw something because he like took off running, and he was like screaming to call the police. And so I remember the teachers came in and they were like screaming at everybody to get away from the windows, and they were like covering up the windows and whatnot. And it was just a crazy, crazy time, man. And I remember not being able to sleep that night because I was just so afraid. Like during dismissal, we were like, everybody was so afraid that you were going to see that like van, because apparently he drove a van and he was snatching up kids. And so like every time I saw a van or anything that looked like a van, I would freak the hell out. It was, ugh,
No, that
it's
is
not a
nuts
good time.
because you got to think. Like, let's put this into perspective. At that time, there is a clown attacking people and grabbing kids. This young girl screams that
Mm-hmm.
she sees him, and then
Mm-hmm.
dismissal comes. Okay, guys, have a good weekend.
now go. Now
You
go
know,
home.
and now you literally have to, tighten up your backpack straps and just book it.
Yeah,
That
if you're not getting a ride home, you got to walk in like groups. Oh God.
that sounds terrifying.
And it was all during the time, it was like the early '90s, so like, you know, Stephen King's It was coming out. They showed it on Channel 50 every Halloween. So I mean, I feel like that just kind of fed into everybody's fears.
Oh,
But
exactly.
there. But moving on to another one, man, Resurrection Mary,
Ooh, hold on.
right?
So the thing that sticks out in my head about this one is,
Mm-hmm.
I think I was telling you that it always sticks in my brain, is there's an Unsolved Mysteries episode. It's season 6, episode 15.
Okay.
And I remember watching this when I was like way too young, up way too late, and
Uh-huh.
it was just creepy. And so I guess it follows the story of this encounter back in 1939 with this guy, Jerry Poss. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different from the main story that we always hear, which we could get into. But in this
Okay.
Unsolved Mysteries episode, Jerry, he ends up meeting Mary, okay, at the Liberty Grove Hall, which is on 47th and Mozart. So he
Mm-hmm.
goes in there. He ends up, seeing a very pretty girl in all white, and he asks her to dance, and he dances the whole entire night with her. And what he can remember is that she was like super like ice cold to the touch, but
Mm.
like I said earlier, beautiful curly hair, white dress. They spent the whole night together, and the night came to an end, and Jerry wanted to give her a ride home. So he dropped her off at her house on 47th and Damon. And he was a gentleman, took her home. She got out, she said bye. For the next few days,
Mm-hmm.
he was just like, man, I should have asked for a date. I should have got more information about her. I really want to like ask her out on another date. So he remembers the house that he dropped her off at.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up driving back down there, and he knocks on the door. An older lady answers, and he says, "Hey, the other night I believe I met a girl named Mary, and I met her at the dance hall. We had a great night. Is she home?" And the mom
Mm-hmm.
gets upset. She gets upset with him. Is this a joke? Is this a game? Like, my daughter, she's been dead, And he says, "No, no, no. That's her right there in the photo on your wall." And she says, "No, she died 5 years ago on her way back from a dance." And bro,
Mm-hmm.
you've seen the episode, right?
I have. Yeah, absolutely, man.
That, and
And
like, I remember
you know,
watching it and just being like, "Oh my god, that's like right down the street. There's this ghost girl."
dude, you know what
Oh,
makes it even creepier was the fact that like Robert Stack, the host of Unsolved Mysteries, he had such a creepy voice, right? And the
it
way
was
that he would
awesome.
narrate these things just it was fantastic, right? Like now that I'm
Mhm.
older and I'm not quite as freaked out by the guy's voice, I can appreciate it, right? I can appreciate it now that I'm older, but when I was a kid, man, just the intro to Unsolved Mysteries scared the crap out of me. There were few things out there when I was a kid that like actually really truly scared me just by hearing it, right? Just by hearing music. But the intro to Unsolved Mysteries was definitely one of those things. And also the intro to that old school show, Tales from the Dark Side. That was another intro that scared the crap out of me too. But like I remember that story, and it's funny because so the cemetery itself is located in Justice, right off Archer Road
Yeah,
in Justice,
95th.
Illinois.
Yeah,
Right. And so, yeah, it's like Archer 95th Street, I think,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I've been there or driven past it multiple times. Multiple times. And one thing that they do detail is that whenever people have actually picked up this hitchhiking ghost and have dropped her off at the destination, which literally is the front gates of Resurrection Cemetery, is that they always say the same thing, right? She disappears from their car. They look around and they see that she's outside and she's at the cemetery gates. She grabs the cemetery gates. She's able to open one of the gates, walk in, and then when she walks in, she disappears. Well, apparently, where she places her hands on these wrought iron bars, for whatever reason, there are like these rust spots where she's put her hands to open up the gates, right? And over the years, they have painted and repainted these bars, and the paint never sticks. You can drive out there right now, dude. And like in the daytime, anytime you drive out there, you look at the cemetery gates, man, and you see those two spots of rust where she puts her hands on there. Dude, the paint does not stick for whatever reason.
Yeah, I had looked up some info on Resurrection Mary, and
Okay.
something came up called the evidence file, and the first file says 1973 cab driver
Uh-huh.
felt a passenger vanish behind a seat,
Oh.
and then in 76 is what you're referring to is
Uh-huh.
a couple saw a girl clutching the cemetery bars, and then her handprints burned into the iron.
Mm.
And then in 79, during a blizzard, a driver hit a girl. Cops found no body, no footprints, ending at the gate. Back then in 89, teen drivers chased a blonde, running in
Mm-hmm.
front of their car and then vanishing at the cemetery. And then the most earliest and the last one that's on here is in the 2020s. A dash cam driver had posted something on TikTok showing
Mm.
orbs right outside the cemetery.
Interesting.
And from what I also got a ghost hunter tip if you want to find her, okay? Which I mean, who? Well, maybe. So they're saying park illegally, headlamps off, radio on big band station at 1:30 a.m. And if you see fog rolling against the wind, you roll your windows up.
Mm-hmm.
That's their
Mm.
tip. I don't know.
Oh man, dare we do it? Dare we do it, Mike?
The best times. The prime time sighting zones: Archer Avenue from Harlem to 95th Street in Justice, Illinois, from 1 to 3 a.m. after the bars
Mm.
close.
I don't know, man.
I always get the heebie-jeebies when I drive past that cemetery. In most
Absolutely.
cemeteries, I'm like, "Ooh, this looks beautiful."
Uh huh.
Not this one,
I mean, do you think that that's just because you know the history?
probably,
You
because
know, you just know
overall, I mean,
the
it's
history of
like it looks like a nice cemetery, uh,
it.
but for some reason, yeah, you just get that feeling in the pit of your stomach, like, what if I seen her right now? You know what I mean? I'm sure every time you drove by, like,
Right.
what if you seen a woman walking down the road, Archer Avenue, right now? You know?
Well, so and then the thing is that nobody has ever really reported that they've gotten hurt by her, right? It's like she's never attacked anybody. It's never been like a really really negative encounter. It's always just been her asking for a ride, and then people getting freaked out where one minute she's there, the next minute she's gone, in the blink of an eye from the back of their car. So I mean, I think we should
You
do
know,
it.
yeah, overall, I mean, she seems like a nice ghost. So,
Yeah.
me, I'm down. Pick up some steak sandwiches and go sit down there and wait.
We should do that, man. Maybe we should wait. Well, no, you know what? It is like the prime time. I mean, late October, early November. We are in, what is it? It is the November 2nd now that we're recording. It is like prime fall right now. Cold,
Mhm.
wet, windy. I don't know, man. Makes for
Sometimes
some,
foggy.
yep, makes for some pretty creepy settings for us to do it. Now,
So,
am I
so
brave enough? Probably not. Because I already got to contend with stuff, man. But I would be curious to see if I actually felt anything, though. Actually just sitting out there and see maybe if I pick up on anything.
Mm-hmm.
For that, we might actually have to record, though. I feel like
Ooh,
we have to record some video.
go
Put it
go
on,
live, go live on
put it on the
TikTok or something.
or put it on like the YouTube. Put it on our YouTube page.
What?
Absolutely.
Which, you know what? This is a perfect time to do a shameless plug. So, hi guys, my name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes, and 5 years ago I created the Scary Vibes community over on Facebook groups, and that group is just popping off. We have tons of fun talking about new movies, trailers. People love sharing, real stories or artwork, and it's just a fun place.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Lot.
and then we created, Scary Vibes podcast. So we appreciate you guys listening, and wherever you're listening, no matter where you're listening, go ahead and follow us. Leave a comment, something that you would love for us to talk about. We would love it.
Absolutely. Any type of engagement that you guys would give to us, we would definitely appreciate it. I'm always so curious to see, we always talk about the things that happen with us. I want to know what some of our listeners have gone through, right? Like we talked about the things that we experienced that were real scary that happened to us on Halloween. I want to know, okay, what happened to you guys, you listeners? Have you guys ever had any scary experiences on Halloween? Let us know. I would love to be able to read some of these on the next pod. I think it would be awesome.
No, definitely. And, you know, we started, the Scary Vibes podcast, week 1 of January.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, once 2026 happens, we're in season 2. I want to, I want some people to be on the show. I want to have some guests. I want some people to come on, and just tell us their stories and just have some laughs with us.
Absolutely, man. That would be a great goal for us to set for season 2. I can't believe we're already coming up on the anniversary, man. Like it went by so fast. We're already on episode 34. And it's been such a blast to be able to do this. I feel myself I feel that I'm very fortunate to be able to do something with one of my best friends, and it's
Aw.
awesome. It's an absolute great time, man. I love doing this with you guys.
Okay, back on today's topic. So we covered some of Chicago's urban legends.
Yes,
There
sir.
could there could be some truth to it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we go and investigate, and we'll come back if we find something.
Mm-hmm.
But we also want to kind of talk about some truthful things, some serial killers from Chicago area.
Yeah.
Who do you got for us?
All right. So, you know, the thing that's crazy is that a lot of people, when they talk about Chicago, for some reason, Dahmer comes up, right? As like this prolific serial killer. Yeah, he was like real scary and stuff, but he was not actually really from Chicago. Um, he was from like the area, but like he was never really like from Chicago or operated in Chicago, at least not to my knowledge. I might be mistaken about that. If I am mistaken and you guys are listening and you want to call me out on it, leave a comment, right? But I want to talk about one of the most prolific serial killers ever in existence. This was America's very first serial killer. And he was a man that went by the name H. Holmes. Bro, have you ever heard of H. Holmes?
I've heard of him, and I seen he has like this. Seen pictures of him. He has like a long goatee looking thing.
He's got like a handlebar mustache going on with like a bowler hat. H. Holmes was America's very first serial killer, right? So he was killing back in the 1890s, right? And he had actually bought a building in what is now known as the Inglewood neighborhood of Chicago. And so basically, what this guy would do was he purchased this building, and he got a bunch of different contractors to come in, and he gave them very specific orders as to what he wanted. And basically, they call this place the Murder Castle, right? So he commissioned these contractors to riddle the building with all of these like secret passageways, secret doors, these hallways that go behind the walls that had like peepholes and things like that. But he also had rigged the rooms to have these gas lines that like actually led into the vents of the rooms. And business was booming, right? He had this operating as a hotel during the time of the World's Fair. And during that time, Chicago was known as the White City because of the beautiful limestone that all of our buildings were made up of back then. It was just this beautiful, beautiful white stone. And back then, Chicago was, it was just known for its beauty, right? And people were coming to the World's Fair to see some of the new up and coming inventions. They were coming from all over the world, and they needed a place to stay. And so a lot of these people would book rooms at H.H. Holmes' building. But a lot of these travelers never found their way home. Because what they would do is they would stay in these rooms, and H.H. Holmes would pump gas into their room. So a lot of these victims ended up becoming very lightheaded and disoriented, and then eventually they would pass out, right? Once they would pass out, H.H. Holmes would enter the room, grab them. And again, I said that he had these contractors commissioned to like riddle all of these different passageways inside the rooms, behind the walls. He even had it rigged with all of these like crazy slides, these chutes that led down to the basement of the building. Now, the horrors that happened down there were just unimaginable, man. So he would take these bodies, put them down these chutes. He would send them down into the basement, and that is where he would torture, maim, and eventually kill his victims. A lot of the times they were alive and they were conscious when he would cut into these people, right? But the most disturbing thing is that he would skin them, right? And then he would remove their skeletons, and then he would boil the bodies, right? Boil the skeletons to get all of the, I guess you could say, the meat, right? The flesh to come right off of the skeleton bones. Then he would put them back together, and he would sell them to medical colleges that were paying top dollar for these human skeletons. You would think that sometimes these people would be like, hey, wait a minute. This is like the fifth human skeleton that this guy has sold us. Like, where's he getting all these human skeletons? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
just, why is it nobody's asking that question? Right? But I don't know, man. This guy, if you look it up, he's super creepy. There's been tons of books. The most famous book is Devil in the White City.
Mm-hmm.
That was released some years ago that depicts uh, everything from his early life leading all the way up until when he was executed by hanging. Once he was caught and convicted for his crimes, that was in 1895, November 2nd. He was convicted, but they could never really convict him for all of the murders because there was such a lack of evidence. But man, they're thinking that he was somewhere in the ballpark of like maybe 300 victims. And it's just absolutely nuts that this was going on in Chicago, man. I'm actually really surprised that there aren't any films really out there about this, you know? But the building itself, well, I want to say like the main part of the building is still there in Inglewood.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a post office building now. And I wonder, with all of the horrific things that happened in that building, is there any type of residual haunting, supernatural energy, something that's like stagnant? Like man, I would love to talk to somebody that's worked there for like 30 plus years and see if maybe there was any paranormal activity that has happened or is still happening in that building. You know, have they heard disembodied voices? Have they seen things moving? Anything like that. I just think it would be really fascinating to see. But yeah, man, that is a very dark stain on Chicago's history, man. And I don't think that H. Holmes gets enough recognition for, bringing enough attention to this actual story. I'm not trying to like gas the dude up. What he did was monstrous and horrific,
Oh
but
yeah,
whenever,
definitely.
yeah, and maybe it's because of the time period that it happened in, but like whenever you talk about like serial killers in Illinois, it's always like Gacy, Dahmer, and then you come across him, H. Holmes. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
absolutely nuts,
Yeah, to just
absolutely crazy.
think,
Mm-hmm.
to just think that, this guy put together a whole hotel to make it his torture chamber
Mm-hmm.
is ridiculous. And like you said, I've heard, yeah, from anywhere from 200 to 300,
Mm-hmm.
murders. You would think,
And the
he
messed up
would.
thing, dude, the messed up thing too is if you do enough research, you go into like his early life before he even commissioned this building, like moved to Chicago and actually had this building made. I mean, there's just bodies that pile up around this guy. Like he was known to kill the women that he had been engaged to. He killed their kids. He was cashing in insurance policies on all
Yeah.
these people. Yeah, man, it was
Yes.
just
Yeah, I
bad.
saw something. I think the first instance is they had found a dead child underneath his bed, and like
Oh God,
his girlfriend at the time questioned him, and he said, oh, it's for research and this and that. And she said, okay, just get that out of the house and don't bring no more dead bodies in here. And
what the
that
hell?
was it. Right.
What? Oh my goodness, what? I don't get it, man.
It was just a crazy time back then.
I guess so. Like literally, you're a female. Probably smell something wretched coming from underneath your boyfriend's bed. You go and you find a dead body, and then you freak the hell out, and the guy's able to explain it away by saying that it was research. Okay, bro, what do you mean? You put it in a fridge or something, right? Some kind of weird container, but you have it under your bed, homie.
Do you
Huge
know
red
his,
flag.
do you know what his last meal was?
I do not actually. What was it?
He requested hard
Hmm.
boiled eggs, toast, and coffee.
That kind of pisses me off because I feel like just like boiled eggs, toast, and coffee makes it seem like he's some kind of aristocrat, right? Like he's kind of bougie. That's kind of a douchebag meal.
Yeah, there's a lot of last meals that I've went over throughout the years. One of the I wish I knew who it was, but the weirdest one I ever heard was that somebody asked for just like an olive, and they ended up eating the seed, and it was like their way of the olive branch. They were
Dude.
hoping it would grow out of them or something.
Oh wow. Okay, that's actually very interesting. I remember hearing there was one person all they wanted was a tub of ice cream.
Wonder if it was
I mean,
Eve's.
listen. I mean, it's your last meal. You're gonna want it to be something good. But honestly, I don't know if I would want to do a tub of ice cream because I'm lactose intolerant. So I don't want to be all gassy and whatnot in my final moments of life.
Yeah,
So Yeah, I think I'd go the safe route and just do some surf and turf. You know, get the best
You
of both
get a
worlds.
whole
Steak,
hibachi.
shrimp,
Request a
the
hibachi
whole
grill.
nine, man. Just all the fixins. Yeah, man. I want all of it. But yeah, dude, he was a really twisted individual, man, and he got away with that stuff for a very, very, very long time. But for anybody that's interested, man, look this guy up. There's tons of documentaries about H. Holmes out there, and I would encourage people to please check it out, man. It's an absolutely insane story.
It is.
Insane story, man.
So
Herman Webster Mudgett.
yeah, Herman. So
Herman, that was his real name, yeah. Herman Webster Mudgett.
there was a show that came out about the person I'm going to talk about to finish up the show today. John Wayne Gacy. Peacock put out a show, Devil in Disguise, which is weird because there's actually a Devil in Disguise podcast that kind of goes like a deep dive. It has like
Mm.
footage of him talking and stuff, but they also put out an 8-part
Yep.
series that's also called Devil in Disguise. So don't get it confused because I had left and came back to continue watching, and I was like, "Wait, what the hell is this?" And it was like
Mm.
same name, two different shows. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but hey. So yeah, I was watching it. That's kind of where it kind of gave me the inspiration to reach out to you and be like, hey, we should just do an episode about Chicago. There's just so much that we could
Hmm.
talk about. Because this is actually going to be the first episode that we've ever done where we haven't talked about any movies. Usually,
That's true.
every episode we've ever done has always been, we'll mix up movies and we'll mix up true crime. But this one, I was
Although
like,
I do have a recommendation at the end of this, but yeah, you're right.
okay, okay, so I'm watching the show and I kind of just want to talk about it.
Okay.
So the show kind of starts off. Basically, the police end up, picking up this case for this missing young man,
Hmm.
and they start to investigate it. So they go to a pharmacy that that kid used to work at, and they talk to the people there, and they say that he was talking to this guy, John Wayne Gacy, about maybe picking up like a construction job, making some more money. So the police end up searching John Wayne Gacy's house. Okay.
Okay.
And they don't find anything right away. They do find some creepy stuff. John Wayne Gacy, I don't know if he was bisexual or homosexual, but they end up finding, toys and magazines and police badges, and he wasn't a cop. So there was just a
Hmm.
lot of evidence, but they had nothing concrete. So they had nothing to book him. So all they could really do is keep an eye on him. So they start watching him, 24/7. Okay.
Okay.
So they're tailing him, watching him. Eventually in the show, he ends up, getting frustrated. John does, and he goes to the cops and he's like, "Man, you guys been watching me all day. Do you guys want to come inside and have a beer and I'll cook us up something?" And it's probably like midnight, and the cops look at each other and they say, "Okay." So he's drinking and they're drinking and they're all eating, and John, he's like kind of a funny guy. He makes people laugh. He's very personable.
Hmm.
And then one of the cops, he's like, "I need to use the bathroom." So he goes to use the bathroom and he smells this stench, and he looks down at, where the vent is, and he has this weird look on his face. So after using the bathroom, he grabs the other cop. We got to get out of here. He gets outside. He tells him, "I know what a dead body smells like, and
Mm.
there's a dead body in this house." So they end up getting another search warrant, and this is where they find the first body that's buried under John Wayne Gacy's house.
Hmm.
And in the show, so basically now they have evidence to hold him. So they hold him, and they're questioning him, and he's like, "You only found one body." He's like, "Let's go back to the house," and he starts walking him through the house. He takes him to his garage, and he tells a story how he did his first kill, and
Mm,
he describes it with his straight face, and he's like saying how I was just showing him a magic trick, and I put the rope around his neck, and he was tied up, and he started struggling, and before he knew it, he strangled himself, and I panicked, and I put a slab of concrete over him,
mm.
and then as it unfolds, they start finding body after body after body. They ended up finding, I think, like 28 bodies buried under his house. And this whole entire show, it kind of goes through the process of that final kill all the way up until you know them executing him. So for our
Hmm.
listeners, John Wayne Gacy, you know, he's from Plainfield, Illinois. That's where his house is, and this guy would just pick up young males all around the Chicagoland area. And, sometimes there were just guys that were, outside the bar or hitchhiking, or he would find guys that he would try to get to come work for him.
Hmm.
And he would just take them home, get them drunk, and he would just kill them. And I think they said that he killed over 33 people within 4 years.
Jeez.
And this guy never had any he never felt bad about anything. He always considered himself a victim. He always said there was 34 victims, and he was the 34th one.
Oh wow. You know, the thing about this guy that really freaks me out is the fact that he was so unsuspecting, right? Because he was a pillar of his community. Like anybody who knew the guy, they always had just nothing but nice things to say about him, right? He was always doing things, always helping out his neighbors, helping out his community, giving jobs to the local teens, so that they could make money. And then he was even I mean, he was known as the killer clown, right?
Pogo the clown.
Pogo the clown, right? So he would perform at little kids' birthday parties as Pogo the clown, which I mean, in reality makes it even creepier. The fact that these people had a killer clown in their house and they had no idea. And it just goes to show you, man, that you never really know, right? Because again, he was a pillar of his community. People thought that they knew him and they thought that he was this great guy. So it's like that's the scary part of it is it's like, man, who knows what goes through some of these people's heads, right? And some of these people knew him for decades. And they all, you ever notice like in all these documentaries about these different serial killers, they always say, "Oh man, I never thought he had it in him. Never even suspected it." Bro, I
Yeah.
don't even know how people cannot suspect this stuff. Like I'm weary of everybody. I look at each other. I look at people sideways. I judge people based on how they order their steak. You know, like I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about you. You might not be human.
I mean,
You
I
know what I'm
ordered
saying?
mine rare.
Yeah. But that's normal, right? Like pink, a little bit
Ooh.
pink or whatever. But like if you're like, yeah, I want my steak to be crispy. Like I want it to
Oh.
be like really well done. I'm like, yeah, there's something wrong with you.
Oh yeah, people. Yeah, no, those people ain't normal.
There's probably somebody listening to this right now thinking, what the hell? Why are you judging me? But like, yeah, man, I don't know. There's just some things that people do sometimes. Like if you eat black licorice, I'm automatically gonna say you're an alien. There's something wrong with you. You're not human. Because that stuff's so nasty, you know? But
It
I don't know.
is.
Maybe that's just
Yep.
me, but go ahead.
So I also have John Wayne's Gacy last meal. I don't know if you want to
Oh,
hear
okay.
it.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so
Let's hear
his last meal, he requested fried shrimp, a bucket of
it.
KFC chicken, a big batch of strawberries, and a Diet Coke.
You know what? He did it up, man. He did it right. Like he was diverse with it, right? Rather than being kind of a snob, he was like, I want to try. Like this is my last meal. I want different things. Which it's like, you know what? I think I would take full advantage of that. I would do the same thing. I'd be like, I think I would put together like a fast food, like the perfect fast food meal, right? Like I'd
Ooh.
probably get like a burger from Culver's, chicken McNuggets from Wendy's, fries from, let's see, where would be like the best fries?
McDonald's got good
The
fries.
seasoned fries from like Popeyes, you know? Like
Ooh.
put together just the best fast food meal ever, just from like all these different places,
You know what
you
both of
know?
these stories have similar is
What's that?
they both had executions, but they were both botched. So with John Wayne Gacy, they gave him a lethal injection, and
Mm-hmm.
he should have died within a minute. And it actually he actually lived for 18 minutes after the injection. His final words were
Yeesh.
"Kiss my ass." And H. Holmes, he also was executed by hanging, and
Mm-hmm.
something that went wrong with that, and he actually stayed alive for 15 minutes while being hung. It makes me
See,
think.
man? And that
I
just makes me
wonder.
wonder.
I
Yeah.
wonder if like the
Go ahead.
police were like, you know what, this guy is sick. I hope he suffers his last final minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think it was just a
And it makes me
coincidence?
wonder. Honestly, if it was not done deliberately by whoever was involved in the execution process, then that had to be some kind of higher power that was like, nah, you know what? You got to suffer a little bit. You got to suffer a
Yeah,
little bit before you check out. Justice for the victims and whatnot. But like that is crazy. The fact
it
that the
is.
two random choices that we picked had botched executions.
Yes. Interesting.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So now that we,
All right, man.
got through our urban legends and we got through our serial killers, I didn't forget. You said you
Mm-hmm.
you had a movie recommendation. What do you got for our audience?
Oh yeah. Man, I know I've already talked to you about this movie several times, but that's because that's how much of an impact this movie had on me, man. And
What?
so for the listeners, this my recommendation for you guys if you haven't seen it already is Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back was released this year, 2025, by the Filippo brothers, right? And the Filippo brothers are the guys who famously made Talk to Me. Now,
This
these
isn't a
guys are
Chicago film, though,
amateur.
right?
It is not a Chicago film.
Okay,
No, it is
I'm
not a
looking
Chicago
at it.
film. Their films are based in Australia because
Hmm.
they are from Australia. But like I gotta say, man, these two young guys are young amateur filmmakers who actually got their start by putting funny videos on YouTube,
Hmm.
and that's how they got like recognition, and they were able to make bankroll, and that's how they were able to fund their horror movies that they're doing. Um, was it in 2023? I believe is when they released Talk to Me, and
Hmm.
that movie was like a box office smash. It was super popular, and they used the money from that to actually fund and produce this movie, Bring Her Back. And Bring Her Back is, I don't want to say too much of it, other than I'll give you a bit of the plot, right? So there's basically this brother and sister that become displaced after the untimely death of their father, right? And so they basically become wards of the state, and they get placed with a foster mother who's been known to kind of take in, these kids, these hard luck cases. And so they're placed, and you feel horrible for these kids. They're, having to deal with the fact that their father passed away. The older brother, he's the one who actually found the father. um and they're dealing with those kinds of things, but then there's like these weird things that are happening in this new home surrounding their new foster mother and their foster brother, who's a special needs kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever it is that you think goes on in this movie, it goes in a completely different direction, man. And I gotta say, I'm pretty used to gore. I'm pretty used to, those shock scenes and whatever. It's been a really, really long time since I've been put in a position where I've actually covered my face while watching a movie. And I did it several times while watching this movie. So, I mean, trigger warning, there are some pretty gory scenes in this, having to do with like some self harm and, things of that nature, man. This movie, it's crazy. Like I said, I don't want to say too much about it, but I'm recommending it for people just because this is one of those movies that you watch it and afterwards you kind of just sit there like, what the hell? Like, whoa, that movie was absolutely crazy. And it shocked me, but in like the best possible way. It's been a really long time since I've had a scary movie actually shock me. And I found it to be very enjoyable. There were moments of, tender moments, a lot of emotional moments, and then there were moments that really like had you clinging to the edge of your seat. Like, I mean, suspense, everything. It makes you feel all the things, you know? Have you
Nice.
had a chance to watch this one yet?
No, I haven't seen it. I do see that Rotten Tomatoes has it at a 89%, and IMDb has it at a 7.2%. And I also see that it's streaming right now on HBO Max.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna have to give it a go, and I'm sure our listeners that listen every week for our movies probably appreciate having something to at least take away and maybe watch. So
Hmm.
I appreciate the recommendation. I'm gonna have to check it out.
You got it, man. And for you people listening, man, please hit us up in comments and let us know what did you think about it? What did you think about today's episode? Are there any urban legends or any other stories that we don't know about that maybe you think that we should talk about? Hit us up, let us know. We would love to hear feedback from you guys.
No, definitely, because I feel like today's episode was a very easy episode to talk about because this is what we grew up on. So it makes me
Hmm.
think, you know, I'm sure there's tons of tales in New York and Texas and Florida and parts of California. So
Hmm.
I would love to hear more, or it would be kind of fun to dive into a different state and learn about all the tales and serial killers from different states or even different parts of the world.
Yeah, man, I'm super interested to hear. I love these types of stories. Anything having to do with scary vibes, man. Anything that induces fear, anything that gives you the creeps. I love to hear about that kind of stuff. So please, guys, give us recommendations. Let us know what kinds of things do you think that we should cover in our next pod. We
I'm
would
liking
appreciate
it.
it.
But I think this is going to be an episode. My name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
And my name is Abe, aka Big Paranormal. We appreciate you guys, and we will catch you next time. Take care.